Home of Hope. My name is Lisa, and I want to tell you about my old life. A few years ago, I lived in a small house with my husband, Mark, and our little son, Tom. At first, I believed we would have a good life together. I dreamed of happy days and warm nights. But soon, everything started to change in a very bad way. Mark was not a kind man at all. He did not smile, and his words were always full of anger and coldness. Mark would get angry at very small things every day. If dinner was a little late, he shouted very loudly. If Tom made a small noise, he shouted even louder. If I forgot something simple, he became very upset. Our house was full of fear and sadness all the time. I tried to make him happy with good food and a clean home, but nothing helped, and Mark stayed cold and angry every day. I felt very sad and tired deep inside my heart, but I always tried to hide my pain behind a small smile. I smiled for Tom even when I wanted to cry inside. I wanted Tom to feel safe and happy with me, but the house felt dark like a prison, full of heavy air. Tom was scared most of the time and stayed very quiet. He played with his small car in the corner, far away from Mark's eyes. One morning, I woke up early and saw Tom sitting on the floor. He held his small toy car in his tiny hands. His face looked tired and a little sad. I sat down next to him and touched his soft hair with my hand. I felt tears coming to my eyes. I thought to myself, I cannot let him live like this anymore. I knew I needed to make a big change. That morning, I made a big decision in my heart. I decided I would leave Mark and never go back. I did not know how hard it would be, but I knew I had no other choice. I thought about where I could go with Tom. I had no family near me. I had very little money saved. But I had strong love for Tom, and I had new hope in my heart for a better life. I packed a small bag with some clothes, some food, and Tom's favorite toy. I waited until Mark left the house for work. I told Tom we were going to a better place. He smiled a small smile, but I saw fear in his eyes too. I held his little hand tightly in mine. I opened the door and stepped outside. The sun was shining bright, and the air felt fresh. We walked quickly down the street, away from the house. I did not turn around even once to look back. I wanted to forget that sad house forever. My heart was beating fast, but I felt stronger with each step. Tom looked up at me and gave a real smile. I smiled back at him with all my heart. I knew we were doing the right thing. We traveled to a small town far away from our old life. We found a small room in a kind woman's house. Her name was Mary, and she had a warm heart. She gave us hot food, a soft bed, and many kind words. Tom played in the garden with other children. I found a job at a small bakery. I worked hard, but I felt happy and free at last. Every night I thanked God for giving us a new start. Our life was not easy, but it was full of love and peace. Tom laughed again and played without fear. He made new friends and learned many new things at school. I watched him grow stronger and happier every day. I knew I had made the right choice when I left everything behind. Some days were very hard for us. I woke up early every morning to go to work. I made bread, cakes, and cookies at the bakery. My hands were always tired and my feet hurt a lot. But every time I felt weak, I thought about Tom. I thought about his smile and his bright eyes. That gave me the power to keep going even when I wanted to rest. Tom started going to a small school in the town. At first, he was very shy and quiet. He sat alone in the classroom and did not talk much. But the teachers were very kind to him. They helped him with his reading and writing. After a few weeks, Tom started to smile more. He made a few friends, and he was not scared anymore. I saved every small coin I earned at the bakery. I did not buy new clothes or nice things. I only spent money on food and school books for Tom. Sometimes I wanted to buy a pretty dress or a nice pair of shoes. But when I looked at Tom's happy face, I knew I did not need anything else. His joy was my reward every single day. Mary became like family to us. She was a kind woman with a big heart. She helped me find extra work cleaning houses on weekends. She gave Tom old toys that her own children had used. She also told me, "You are a strong woman, Lisa. You are doing a good job." Her kind words made me feel strong when I felt tired and lonely. One cold evening, Tom and I sat near the small heater in our room. He showed me a drawing he made at school. It was a picture of a house with a big sun and two smiling people. He said, "This is me and you, Mommy." I hugged him tight and cried a little. It was a good cry, a cry full of love and hope for our future. In the spring, the bakery owner told me I was a very good worker. He gave me more hours and a little more money. I was very happy. I started to save for a better place to live. I dreamed of a small house with a garden where Tom could run and play. I promised myself I would give Tom a safe and happy home one day. Months passed, and life became a little easier. Tom grew taller and stronger. His laughter filled the small room we lived in. I worked every day and came home every night to see his sweet face. I was tired, but my heart was light. I knew we were building a better life together, step by step, with love and hope. One Sunday, Mary took us to a park outside the town. It was a beautiful day. The sun was shining and flowers were everywhere. Tom ran and played with other children. I sat on the grass and watched him. For the first time in a long time, I felt truly peaceful. I closed my eyes and thanked God for this simple, happy moment. That night, as Tom slept, I sat by the window and looked at the stars. I thought about the past, about the sad days with Mark. I thought about the fear, the shouting, the cold house. But I also thought about the brave step I took. I knew I could have stayed and lived in fear, but I chose to be brave for Tom and for myself. I learned something very important. Sometimes the hardest choice is the right choice. Leaving was scary. Starting over was hard, but love made me strong. Every smile from Tom, every laugh, every happy moment told me that I did the right thing. I promised myself to keep going, no matter how hard life would be. As time passed, I started to believe more in myself. Every morning I woke up early with a smile on my face. I knew that each new day was a gift. I worked hard at the bakery, helped Tom with his homework, and cleaned houses on weekends. It was a lot, but I was proud of what I was doing for our little family. I felt stronger with every step I took forward. Tom's school had a big event in the summer. It was a day full of games, music, and food. Parents were invited to watch their children sing and dance. Tom stood on the small stage with his friends. He sang a happy song and smiled at me from the stage. My heart felt like it would burst with pride. I clapped the loudest for him, and he laughed and waved at me. After the school event, Tom came running to me with a prize in his hand. He won a small prize for good behavior and kindness. He hugged me tightly and said, "I love you, Mommy." In that moment, I knew all the hard work, all the tears, and all the lonely nights were worth it. I kissed his forehead and whispered, "I love you too, my sweet boy." Mary saw how hard I was working and how much I loved Tom. One evening, she sat with me and said, "Lisa, you have done something very brave. Many people stay in bad places because they are scared, but you chose to leave and build a new life. That is real courage." I smiled and thanked her. Her words stayed in my heart like a warm light. With more hours at the bakery and weekend cleaning, I started saving faster. Every night, I counted the money in a small jar under my bed. I dreamed of a little house with blue curtains and flowers at the door. I told Tom about my dream, and he smiled. He said he wanted a dog too. I promised him that one day we would have a house and maybe even a dog. One Saturday, I found a small house for rent at the edge of town. It was not big, but it had 2 rooms and a little yard. The walls needed paint, and the garden was wild, but I loved it at first sight. I could already imagine Tom playing in the yard. I could see us sitting outside under the sun. It was not perfect, but it felt like a dream coming true. I talked to Mary about the house, and she said she would help me move. She even gave me some old furniture she didn't need anymore. With her help and my savings, I was able to pay the first month's rent. Tom and I packed our small things into boxes. We said goodbye to Mary with hugs and many thank yous. We promised to visit her often. Moving day was full of excitement and hard work. Tom ran from room to room laughing and shouting. I cleaned the windows and floors. We set up our small beds and put the old table in the kitchen. When the sun went down, we sat outside and ate sandwiches. Tom looked up at the stars and said, "This is our home now." My eyes filled with happy tears. That night, I tucked Tom into his new bed and kissed his forehead. I sat by the window and looked at the moon. I felt a deep peace inside me, a feeling I had not felt in many years. I was tired, but it was a good tired. I closed my eyes and thanked God for giving us this chance. I knew our real journey was just beginning, but I was ready. From that night on, every day was a small adventure. Tom planted flowers in the yard. I painted the walls bright colors. We made the little house full of laughter and love. We did not have much money, but we had everything we needed: love, hope, and a safe place to call home. I knew deep inside that we had finally found our true beginning. Life in the new house was simple but sweet. Every morning, I opened the window and let the fresh air fill the rooms. Tom woke up with a smile and got ready for school. I made him a small breakfast and packed his lunch. After he left, I walked to the bakery and worked until the afternoon. It was a simple life, but it was full of peace and small, happy moments. One day at the bakery, the owner, Mr. Clark, asked if I wanted to learn more about baking. He said he saw great talent in me and believed I could do even more. I was shy at first, but I said yes. Every evening after work, I stayed a little longer and learned new recipes. I baked sweet pies, soft bread, and beautiful cakes. I felt proud of myself again. Tom made new friends at school, and he often played in the yard after homework. I loved hearing his laughter as he ran with his small dog Max, who we adopted from a shelter. Max was a happy dog with big brown eyes. He became part of our little family very quickly. Watching Tom and Max together filled my heart with endless joy. On Sundays, Tom and I spent time fixing the house. We painted the old fence white and planted more flowers in the yard. Tom chose colorful flowers like yellow sunflowers and red roses. Our little home started to look very beautiful. Sometimes neighbors passed by and smiled at our hard work. It made me feel proud and happy to see their smiles. Mary often visited us and brought cookies or warm soup. She sat with me in the kitchen, and we talked about life and dreams. Mary said she was proud of me and how far I had come. Her kindness gave me even more strength. I promised myself to always stay kind, strong, and brave, just like Mary had taught me with her actions. One evening, Tom showed me a drawing he made in school. It was a picture of our house with flowers, Max, and the 2 of us standing outside. Above the house, he wrote, "Home is love." I hugged him tightly and kissed his cheek. I realized that Tom felt safe and loved. That was all I ever wanted for him, and it made my heart full. Time moved fast, and soon it was winter again. Snow fell over the town, and Tom built a small snowman in our yard. We drank hot chocolate by the fire and told funny stories. Max slept at our feet, warm and happy. I looked around our cozy home and thanked life for giving me a second chance. We had little, but we had everything that mattered. At the bakery, Mr. Clark offered me a new job. He wanted me to manage the small team of workers. I was shocked and scared at first. But he said, "You have worked hard and earned this." I took a deep breath and accepted. It was a big step, but I was ready. I knew I could do it because I had already faced bigger fears before. With the new job, I earned a little more money. I started saving for Tom's future. I dreamed about sending him to a good school one day. I also started taking small classes at night to learn more about baking and business. I wanted to be better for Tom and for myself. Every small step felt like a big victory on our journey. Looking back, I could see how far we had come, from the dark, sad days with Mark to the bright, hopeful days in our new home. I learned that even the smallest light can grow strong with love and hard work. I promised myself to never forget the lessons life had taught me. I would keep walking forward, one brave step at a time, always with hope. One spring morning, Tom came home from school with big news. His teacher told him about a writing contest, and Tom wanted to join. He had to write about someone who was his hero. That evening, he sat at the kitchen table, thinking hard. I watched him from the stove while making dinner. He looked so serious, with his pencil tapping the table and his eyes full of thought. A few days later, Tom handed me his paper with a big smile. "I wrote about you, Mommy," he said proudly. I sat down and read his words carefully. He wrote about how I had made a new life for us, how I worked hard, and how I never gave up. Tears filled my eyes as I read his sweet, simple words. I hugged him tightly and told him how proud I was. Weeks passed, and one afternoon, Tom's teacher called me. She said Tom had won the contest. There would be a small ceremony at the school, and parents were invited. On the day of the event, I wore my best dress and held Tom's hand tightly. When they called his name, he walked proudly to the stage. He read a few lines from his paper, and everyone clapped loudly. After the ceremony, many parents and teachers came to speak with me. They said I must be very strong and kind. Some even said they admired my courage. I smiled and thanked them, but inside I knew it was love that had made me strong. Love for Tom, love for life, and the dream of a better tomorrow. That was my true secret. That night, Tom and I celebrated with a small cake. We laughed and sang songs in our cozy little kitchen. Max barked happily, and the house was full of joy. I looked around at my small family and felt a deep, quiet happiness. We had come through the storm and found the sun again. Our home, though small, was rich with love and hope. I often thought about the road we traveled. It had been full of pain and fear, but also full of lessons and strength. I learned that life can break you, but it can also help you grow stronger. I knew there would still be hard days ahead, but I was not afraid. I had Tom, I had love, and I had the courage to keep going no matter what. Summer came, and with it, many new dreams. Tom spent his days playing outside with Max and his friends. I worked at the bakery during the mornings and studied at night. Every small step brought new hope into our lives. Sometimes I sat on the porch, watching the sunset, and thought about how far we had come. It felt like a new chapter full of light and happiness. One evening, Mary visited us with good news. She said her cousin owned a small cafe in town and needed someone to help manage it. Mary thought I would be perfect for the job. I felt nervous but excited. It was a bigger step than anything before. After thinking for a night, I decided to take the chance. It was time to dream even bigger for Tom and me. Working at the cafe was different but wonderful. I met many people, learned new skills, and felt more confident. The cafe had a warm feeling, like a second home. I decorated it with flowers and pictures, making it cozy. Tom sometimes came after school and did his homework at a corner table. Seeing him there made all my hard work feel even more special. One afternoon, a woman came into the cafe and smiled kindly at me. She said she heard about my story from Mary and admired my strength. She offered to help me start baking my own cakes to sell. I felt shy but excited. We worked together after hours, and soon my cakes were popular in town. For the first time, I dreamed of owning my own bakery one day. With the extra money from the cakes, I saved a little more each month. I opened a small bank account for Tom's future. I wanted him to have choices and chances I never had. Every coin I saved felt like a small gift of love for him. Tom knew about the account and often said, "One day, Mommy, I will make you proud too." He already had more than he knew. One sunny Saturday, Tom and I went to the park with Max. We packed a small picnic and laughed under the big trees. Tom played soccer with other kids, and I read a book on a blanket. Max chased butterflies and rolled in the grass. It was a simple, beautiful day. Days like that reminded me that real happiness lives in small, quiet moments. At the cafe, business grew every month. Mr. Clark visited once and praised the cozy atmosphere. He even brought friends to try my cakes. I felt proud and thankful. Sometimes after closing, I stood in the middle of the cafe and looked around, smiling. It was not just a place to work. It was a part of our new life, full of dreams and hope. One evening, Tom asked me if we could take a small trip one day. He said he wanted to see the ocean. I promised him we would, even if it took time to save enough. That night, I dreamed of the ocean too, blue and endless. It became a new goal for us, a new adventure waiting. Life felt bigger and brighter, full of possibilities. Looking at our life now, I feel a deep peace. We are not rich, and we still have hard days, but we are strong, full of hope, and full of love. I learned that even in the darkest times, you can find light if you keep moving forward. Our story is not about sadness anymore. It is about courage, dreams, and the power of never giving up.